Gabrielle Kakaninden, to introduce our valedictorian.
Good evening, everybody. I'm very pleased to have the chance to introduce our class's valedictorian. From being a great friend to excelling in her studies to volunteering her time, Maria MacDonald always gives 110%. Even when she was asked to share a small blurb on what she had in mind for her speech, she made a big, colorful chart for us. She is on most, if not all, of our school's committees, demonstrating that she is willing to give her free time for the benefit of others in her school and community. We all felt that this honor should go to her. So without further ado, please help me welcome the class valedictorian of 2018, Maria MacDonald.
Thank you so much, Gabby. Yeah, I'll probably cry. Okay. Good evening, staff, parents, friends, invited guests, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2018. I am honored to be this year's class valedictorian, and I would like to sincerely thank my classmates for giving me this opportunity. When I first found out that I would be giving the valedictorian address, I felt a mix of emotions, but the main one was fear. I want this speech to be inclusive and relatable to all grads, and with such a wide variety of opinion, I realized that this would be difficult, but I will try my best. I thought it would be suitable to start from the very beginning, day one of grade primary. I can't say I remember a tremendous amount of detail about this day, but I do remember one very specific moment, walking in the door of Mrs. Curry's classroom to see the desks in groups of 4s. I thought, perfect, I only have 3 friends. So I sat down beside my best friend Lexi, and we had planned to save the other 2 seats for our friends Cole and Mitchell. However, this was not the case. Shortly after we sat down, we were surprised by the presence of 2 new friends, Kendra and Nathan. They took the seats that we wanted Cole and Mitchell to take, and at this moment, Lexi and I had 2 options. We could say hello and make friends with them, or we could ask them what the heck they think they're doing stealing our best friend's seats. So being the 5-year-olds we were, we chose option 3. We said nothing and carried on with the day. And don't worry, Cole and Lexi are still very good friends to this day. Another memory I have from grade primary was when Alex had a super huge crush on me. Sorry, Alex. He told me we were getting married, and he kissed me on the forehead, and I think I cried for about 3 days straight. Throughout elementary, we learned a lot about each other. These are the years where the bonds formed and friendships flourished, playing Dylan versus Brandy on the playground. Honestly, I still don't know what the details and rules were for that game, but it was basically just the class split into 2 groups, Brandy's group and Dylan's group, and we would just fight each other to protect the captain. I don't get it. We learned all about penguins in grade 3, and also learned that if we behaved really well, Mrs. Delory would whip out her ukulele for an afternoon jam session to Down by the Bay. Grade 4 was when we were greeted with the presence of everyone's best friend, Nicholas Kenneth Clower. Side note, I had to double check with him that Kenneth was his middle name, and he responded, wow, after all these years you don't know my middle name? And then he proceeded to send me a picture of his driver's license, military card, health card, and MasterCard to clarify that his middle name is Kenneth. This boy is like no other, and there's never a dull moment with Nicholas, as he's always trying to do something to make us laugh, whether it be blurting out random words in class like chicken or moist, making weird sounds, making weird faces at you, or showing off his special dance moves at our high school dances. Nick is one unique boy who is loved by many. In grade 5, we had Mr. Eddie Avery as our teacher. But my favorite memory of Mr. Avery actually took place in grade 1. Elementary classes were in the gym for Halloween activities, and Desiree and I were taking a break from the overwhelming spooky games and sat out with Mr. Avery. He was quick to make us feel better by telling us a story of how he used to be an alligator catcher before he became a teacher. Now, 6-year-old Desiree and Maria had no doubt that this story was true, especially after he took out 2 alligator candies from his bag to give to us. And I have yet to see these candies in any store, so I honestly have no reason but to believe that Mr. Avery was, in fact, an alligator catcher before his teaching career. In grade 6, we had a teacher who was not only new to us, but new to our school. Mr. Jimmy Carr teased me from day one by calling me Martha instead of Maria. Even now, he still calls me Martha each year on my birthday. And grade 6 is one of those years that has its ups and downs. We were all changing, and we were all going through different experiences, but we were going through them together. And Mr. Carr made the tough times better with his lame jokes and references to the book Safe as Houses that we read with him. Grade 7 was a big change. We finally got lockers in the junior high end, and we had a lot of different teachers, so we got to move around the school more. Grade 7 is also the year that we were allowed to go to high school dances, which welcomed us to the brand new idea of awkward slow dances. I believe it was also grade 7 when Kirkland had mistaken the word entrepreneur for pioneer in Mr. Wayne Avery's social studies class, a class that you could count on not having to do work if you mentioned any sport. And you knew when he wheeled over his comfy chair to the front of the classroom and sat down in it that it was a class for procrastination. Our grade 8 tech ed class was electrifying, literally. Dylan McLean almost lost a limb when he accidentally cut the wire of a hot glue gun while he was cutting up sticks for his bridge. It was the loudest bang and the biggest spark I've ever seen in my life. We were in so much shock that no one, not even Nick, said anything for about 30 seconds while we just stared at Dylan. Grade 8 was also the year that we welcomed Gabby into our class. And I'm so thankful that this girl came to Guysborough, as she quickly became one of my best friends who I'll miss so much next year. Also, big shout out to Gabby for being so artsy and designing our beautiful class mural. It was also in junior high when I missed one of the highlights of health class. Kelsey power puking on Rebecca. Although I was in band at the time, I feel like I was actually there from the amount of times I've heard that detailed story. When we met Mr. Greg Hadley, he tried to break the ice by ripping a phone book in half. And honestly, I don't know if that broke the ice or made us more scared of him, but either way, he turned out to be a pretty cool teacher, so cool that we wanted him to come here today as our guest speaker, so thank you, Mr. Hadley. Our grade 10 gym class took a one-day camping trip to the Upper Boylston Park. Here we learned how to canoe and how not to canoe, all at once. Nick and Ryan took the plunge when they flipped their canoe and swam to shore. And I didn't actually see this happen, because I was in another session at the time, but I really knew something was up when I saw Nick and Ryan soaking wet and shirtless running down the trail. A vivid memory I'll cherish forever. And not only was gym class eventful in grade 10, but we had a pretty dramatic drama class as well. I won't go into detail, but let's just say it wasn't until about 2 weeks left in June when Mr. Martin saved the day and we whipped together a montage of Robert Bunch plays to perform for the school. I wish I had a video of our production because I never want to forget the image of our class clown, Cody, playing the role of a 3-year-old boy who couldn't stop peeing his pants. Our grade 10 math class was also very memorable. Not only did we learn how to factor, but we also learned how to accept criticism. Isn't that right, Ryan? For those of you who don't know Miss Alicia Mills, she is one of the sweetest, yet most brutally honest teachers you will ever meet. Kind of like a teacher version of Nettie. We will never forget the day Miss Mills referred to Ryan's voice as a dull hum. Biology 11 and 12 were hands down my favorite classes of high school, and I know some others can relate. These were the times that got a little graphic, especially when we discussed the reproduction process of ducks and cats, and This topic is definitely not in the curriculum, and also definitely not one I can discuss in detail right now, but it makes for a good Google search when you get home. The thing I love about Mr. Wilson's classes is that no matter how off topic we get, we're still learning. Another bio memory was when we learned about the digestive system. Most of us understand that this is a one-way process, except for Keegan. On our test, we had a question that reads as follows. Explain the process that food will take going through the digestive system from start to finish. Now, Keegan almost got full value on this question until his last sentence. Keegan clearly explained that food will go through your mouth, down the esophagus, into the stomach, through the intestines, and you know how it goes from there, but apparently Keegan doesn't, because he said vice versa at the end. Vice versa. But he got full value! Unfortunately, our friend AJ couldn't stay in Guysborough for all of high school, but AJ, I'm so happy you could be with us here tonight at graduation as your true friend to all of us and make our class complete. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Aubrey, because I haven't seen you much second semester, but you always have been a true friend to all and can always make me laugh. We were warned many times that grade 12 would fly by, and it is so true. This year has been a blur, and as a class, we have broken some pretty cool records. On the last day of school before Christmas break, we bet the teachers in a game of volleyball and basketball. During spring fling, it took us only 11 seconds to beat the teachers in tug of war. And just 2 nights ago, we were told that we were the longest to stay at the prom dance ever. And I think Dylan deserves an award on his own for eating so many gross, unknown Fear Factor cups during walkathon. I'd now like to take a moment to thank those who have supported us throughout high school. Whether it be an aunt or uncle who you could always count on to pick you up after basketball practice, or a grandparent who would always look forward to coming to your Christmas concerts back in the day, these people have played a huge role in bringing us up and shaping us into the people we are today, and I hope you can get the chance to thank them for their support. To our parents, there is no way to truly thank you for all that you have done for us over the past 13 years, from packing lunches to driving us all over the county, to pushing us through the tough times, and to loving us unconditionally. You are the reason we are here today, so thank you for the opportunities you have given us. For the teachers, thank you for putting up with us, even though you obviously didn't have a choice. Thank you for not giving up on us, for helping us through the tougher times, and for going above and beyond to help us succeed. Like any class, there's disagreements and arguments. For example, all I have to do is say the word cupcakes, and the majority of the class will cringe over a misunderstanding that took place in grade 10, but we pushed through it, and luckily now we can just laugh about it. Okay, so the sapphire stuff is coming up next. I put it at the end in case I cry. All right. It's hard for me to believe that we won't be coming back to Guysborough Academy in September for another year of school. It's what we're used to, and we don't really know any different than that. And it's scary to think that this stage of our lives is completely over. If you can take away anything from what I've said tonight, please remember that as we move on with our lives, we will each take a different path, and no two will be the same, and that's what makes life so special. We have known each other so well for the past 13 years of our lives, and I hope we can stay in touch forever. And I know some of you may not want to know that now, but as time goes on, remember your roots, remember where you came from, and remember who you grew up with. Remember that we have played a huge role in each other's lives and have learned so much from each other. And whether you can see that now or not, it's true. The memories that we have made with each other will be cherished forever. But now it's time to start a brand new chapter of our lives and open our minds to brand new experiences. I'd like to end with a part of a song that Nick and Ryan have been known to sing on a daily basis. Well, the years start coming, and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules, and I hit the ground running. It didn't make sense not to live for fun. Your brain gets smart, but your head gets dumb. There's so much to do, so much to see. So, what's wrong with taking the back streets? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play. Thank you very much.
I would now like to call upon Alexandra MacDonald to thank Valedictorian.
On behalf of the entire class, we thank Maria for all the time and effort you put into that speech. I'm sure it will be something we cherish for the many years to come. Because Maria shared so much about all of us, I'll share a little bit about her. In 2 days, it'll be Maria and I's 18th best friend anniversary, aka my birthday. So it means so much to me to have her recite all the memories from her class. Maria has been my rock throughout all the years of school and will continue to be next year. So here's what I've learned about her over the past 18 years. 1. Do not ever expect to hang out with her without herself or a family member wanting to take a picture. And there's no point of trying to avoid it no matter how much food you have in your mouth at the time. She's very organized. Maria keeps a to-do list, and after she completes something, she will tell you to come over and watch as she scratches it out. Maria is very involved in the church community, volunteering her time as a very talented altar server. We were always scheduled to serve together, but being the good friend that I am, I decided not to steal her thunder, so every couple Sundays, I'd sleep in and let her do it alone. Maria recently underwent a surgery that led to her eating blended craft dinner out of a syringe. There's no story behind this, it's just really gross. There's nobody else I'd rather ask to help me with my homework. Nobody I'd rather get ready for a dance with. Nobody I'd rather attempt to do donuts at the Queensport look-off with.
What?
Nobody I'd rather get lost in Fort Felix with. And nobody I'd rather deliver the valedictory speech and represent our class at graduation. Thank you, Maria, for being my best friend and all the work you have done this year. We all love you.